Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Well, once again, everyone, I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio TV, brought to you by the Rockstar Chronicles Series 1, my new book featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. He is music royalty. There's no question about that. And there aren't many families that have had more of an impact on soul music than the legendary Womack family. And that talented family continues to make an impact through the emergence of Curtis Binky Womack. Binky is the son of the late Curtis Womack of the Womack brothers and has made a career for himself as a top-tier session guitarist. Binky's career transitioned from backing his father and his uncle Bobby Womack to working with stars like Usher and Snoop Dogg. He became he has become a SoulTracks favorite, with every album displaying his killer guitar work and a sound that harkens on the best elements of blues, southern soul, and R&B. Binky's latest release is called Binky Womack, Mr. Womack 2021, and it's available now at amazon.com. Please welcome R&B, soul, rock, music artist, producer, and nephew of the legendary Bobby Womack, Curtis Binky Womack, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Binky.
Hey, man. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, man. I want to first talk about the new album, which I love. I gave it 5 stars. It's incredible.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
I love your guitar playing. And it was, I could hear it maybe in 1 or 2 tracks, but hopefully the next album will feature some of your guitar licks. Is that possible?
It trying to find a happy balance, because I'm a real shred type guy, and it's like I find myself having to tone it down in these soul records,
Right.
So I purposely, try to stay within a certain, a certain range on this record, because sometimes it gets a little guitar heavy, and I think not everyone's a real hard edge listener. They don't. So I try to tone it down. But yeah, I was thinking that maybe I should just have like one song, where I just go for it.
I don't know, man. It's in your DNA. That guitar's in your DNA. I mean, soul is, but so is your DNA. I mean, Bobby played a lot of guitar,
Man, he was fantastic.
He played with the Stones. He played with everybody. Yeah.
But he would tone that down too. I mean, he there was a long period where he didn't even touch guitar unless he was recording, you know what I mean? Or if he was playing acoustic, I mean. But he would never, he kept that under wraps. People didn't really understand or have an idea of what type of guitar player he was. He was phenomenal.
But man, you're so talented on guitar. It's a shame to suppress it.
Yeah, well, I was slipping over to in the rock genre. They were putting me as a rock artist.
Right.
So
Well, you can do both. You can be
Yeah.
soul and you know, R&B and rock. I mean, look at Prince, you know,
Yeah, you know what? Prince had
and
he had a big platform. You know, he had Warner Brothers there to to hand him out like that. Like,
right. I love the album. I'm a big R&B fan from way back. You know, I brought up in Baltimore and also in DC, so
mhm.
we always had R&B music on the radio. Very very lucky, and not too many people know how to crank out good R&B music like you do.
Yeah, thank you. It's just a different time, you know. I try to stick to the soul roots and, like you said, the rhythm and blues, and not so much the trendy. There's a trendy
Mm-hmm.
R&B,
Right,
that has certain elements that I find boring and repetitive.
right,
So I try to deliver, some of the gospel roots and stuff, and you
exactly.
know. And when I was growing up, I had a lot of rock influences. I grew up with Slash
Mm-hmm.
and Lenny Kravitz. We all grew up together, so we were listening to a lot of rock. Ozzy and the
Yeah, look at Lenny
Stones.
Kravitz, man.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, he
he's yeah.
he has his niche. You know,
Oh yeah.
and Slash too. These were local guys in my neighborhood.
Huh. Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, some of my favorite tracks, Mr. Womack, of course. You got some very cool background singers. I love how you implemented that. And a very good beat. Every song has a great beat to it,
Yeah,
which I love.
yeah. Thank you. The Mr. Womack. Those are some of my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Womack and uh, and his and Mark. Well, actually, Mark Womack and Mark Jr. are
Mm-hmm.
doing those other two verses in there, and my cousin Mustafa is singing on the hook. So it was a big Womack, salute type song. Everyone should check it out.
Well, a lot of the critics liked Vitamin B, and they pointed at that as the best song on the album. But I disagree. I love the song, but I think there are other songs on the album that are even better than Vitamin D. Vitamin
So
B.
do I. I mean, vitamin B is that cliche. It
Mm-hmm.
has everything in it. I mean, it
Right.
has the strings, the horns, and it just has that, feel good. But I think one guy told me his favorite song on the album was "I Hear You Knocking." you
Right.
know, and that's just a song that's just, you know what I mean? It's just like, to me, it's like some guy sitting on the porch with a guitar and a banjo.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a foot stomping, just straight home down home groove of what you would hear maybe in a church in the 60s or something. It has that type of feel on it. But my favorite song is "Give Me a Chance."
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that came together.
My favorite is One Night Stand.
Oh, you like that? I intentionally, because um, I do a lot of funk and other genres and records for other people, but I
Yeah.
never did anything like that for myself.
Right.
So I said, man, I'm gonna dial up something to kind of get people on the floor. That was my Prince, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis type, you know.
Exactly.
But I'm glad you like that one.
I don't smoke no leaves,
I
and
don't smoke no leaves, but I love to drink.
you won't be laughing when it's time to go.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit of Parliament in that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was a big fan of the Parliament Funkadelics. They were
You
a
know what?
wild band.
Yeah, man. Actually, to mention that, I grew up with George's son Trelude. We went
Oh,
to
really?
school together,
Yeah.
so we have a band out, which is like, we open for Parliament
Mm-hmm.
and open for George, and George is actually on the album. Check out the P Union. The
Mm-hmm.
record actually will drop. The first record dropped last year, but the second album drops next month, August
Right.
11th.
Okay.
You got to hear that. I'm the lead singer and one
That's
of the lead
awesome.
singers in that group. and it's all funk. You know,
Yeah.
it's Parliament Funkadelic,
Yep.
but it's 2021.
All right.
But it's still funky. You have to hear that, Ray.
Yeah, we
I'll
need
send it
more
to you.
funk. We need more funk. You
Yeah.
remember Sinbad? I don't know. He used to do these funk shows on TV.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy that you mentioned that because I was just watching that on YouTube. It was Sinbad
Yeah, those are
in the
awesome.
Caribbean, somewhere with
Right.
like Cameo and Lakeside or something like that.
Yeah. I saw Sinbad here locally, and I heard he had a stroke or a heart attack recently.
Yeah, you know, he had something, but he's
Yeah,
doing pretty good. He's doing pretty
good.
good.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah.
But one night stand, man. If the music industry was only normal, that would have been a hit, in my opinion.
Well, you
That's
know,
got hit written all over it.
yeah, it still can be. I mean, the record's only been out 2 weeks,
Hmm.
so it's got some time to get legs. You know, people, you know, they don't. I guess the younger people search for music, but
Right.
you know, you have to put it in everyone's face. So maybe I get around to doing a video for that one
We got to
because it
get
was,
rid of all these girl
yeah.
singers, man. Taylor Swift, and I can't take it anymore.
Oh yeah,
We
I'm
need to
with you.
break back the bands, the groups, the great musicians. That's what's so great about R&B. They always had great musicians, kind of
Yeah,
like jazz.
and when you go to the show and you hear that music played back to you live with
That's
actual
right.
instruments, it's nothing can compare to that. You know?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I saw the Funkadelics with the Ohio players
Oh
in the
wow.
beginning when they first came out. I think Funky Warm had just come out by the Ohio players, and just to listen to those horns, man, and watch them back, it was incredible. Guys are
Yeah,
awesome.
I caught Ohio players playing. They were playing. It was somewhere near the beach, and the
Hmm.
show was phenomenal. I mean, it was like 13-piece band,
Yep.
4-piece horn section, and the sound coming back was just immaculate.
They don't make bands like that anymore. There's no new bands like that with that kind of talent. There really isn't.
And it's
And
amazing that you can go to like a huge show, which would have been like a Woodstock or something back in the
right.
day, and people are doing track dates.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way they used to mix shows together. Like I saw Uriah Heep with Earth, Wind, and Fire and ZZ Top. I mean,
Oh,
that's this way you get to flavor the best
right.
of all the genres. That was very, very smart. And Earth, Wind, and Fire was a big hit. That's when they came out with Evil. That was a long time ago. That was like one of their
Mhm.
first hits.
Yeah, they were fantastic too as a live show.
Right.
But everyone in that era was. If you went
Yeah,
to
they
see the
were.
OJ's or
Right.
anyone, the Temptations, they had a smoking band.
So what happened, man? How do we get from up there to down here musically? You know what I mean?
You know what, man? We, the industry, it's easy for them to just add water. You know what I mean? It's just like if you go to, a big show, there's lots of moving parts that you have to put together. And then if you have like one guy that's just going to rap and hold the mic and one guy that's going to play the record or do a track date, you know, uh, you're going to get the same amount of people in the show, but you're going to have less expenses. So I guess
Yeah.
it's just about the business of it.
It's pretty sad though. I mean, your band, it's all talent, man. It's great. It's like the old days. That's why I love you guys so much. You should be at the top of the charts, in R&B and in rock.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work coming from an indie standpoint because everything that we do, we put it together.
Right.
There's no masterminds behind
Right.
the tour or the rehearsals or or the theatrics. It's just hey, we're gonna go out here and we're gonna rehearse hard, we're gonna play hard, and, you know,
I
just
wanted to ask you about I Hear You Knocking.
Mhm.
It's not anything to do with the Smiley Lewis song, or is it? Because it's kind of similar.
I never heard that. You mean the one that Ray, who was it? Was that Ray Charles or was that Little Richard? You talking about that song?
Fat Dominoes did it. Dave Edmonds did I Hear You Knocking, but it's
Oh,
different. Your
oh, oh,
version is different.
yeah. No, it had nothing to do with that, and
Hmm.
I kind of had that, when I was putting it together, it, it came around to where, I remember and I know that song,
Hmm.
but it was like, I started that song as just like, with just, like I said, like a foot stomping groove.
Right.
And then when I started the story about, you know, uh, this guy he was just getting home from last night, but he
Hmm.
was kind of, his wife was just getting home, or his girl was just getting home at the same time. So he forgot all about it. He was out all night. It was like, I'm getting in first and I'm locking the door. You know what I mean? So you're not coming in here. So it's kind of similar, but I did go back and listen to that, and it was like that one is what is it? This is I hear. What is the actual words to the other song? It was a little bit
I hear
reminiscent of
you
that.
knocking, but you can't come in.
Yeah, no, mine was I hear you knocking, but theirs was something else.
Right.
It was something
I
like
hear you
that.
knock. But it's similar. It's
Yeah,
similar,
yeah,
but it's
yeah, yeah.
way
It's a little
way
similar.
off as far as the rhythm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta give them, some type of, yeah,
A little
influence. You know what I
kudos.
mean? Because there's a lot
Yeah,
of stuff that goes into your DNA that
I
you may
know.
kind of pull from, but yeah, it wasn't like it just kind of came together like that.
Yours is different, man. No lawsuits.
Yeah,
Totally different.
yeah.
I'll back you
That
up.
that happens sometimes. I remember I had something, and my uncle said, "Well, that kind of sounds like OJ's
Right.
Love Train," and it was just like, no,
Yeah.
I just say people all over the world, but that's
Oh no.
it was just that one instance, that's
Yeah.
in like our DNA that other people could never just pull that out of something. You know what I mean?
Other musicians copy other musicians. That's just going to happen. You can't help it. There's just so much music you can put out there.
Yeah, and
You
there's
know.
so much stuff that's inside of you from what you've heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes I'll play a lick and it'll be like, oh, that reminds me of, like someone said, keep on walking. What's that guitar lick? What's that guitar lick? And I said, well, it kind of sounds like, I knew
Uh
exactly
huh.
what he was talking about. It kind of sounds like Love TKO that my Uncle Cecil did for
Uh huh.
Teddy Pendergrass, but
Right.
it's it's got the same makeup, but it's not the same lick, but
Hmm.
it has the same feel. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
sometimes when you play sessions, stuff like that, you always. I remember I was playing a session for Norman Whitfield, and
Oh wow.
he have you leave everything you have inside of you on the tape.
Hmm.
It's like play something different, play something different. So you will start digging down in yourself for what licks and feels that you've heard and that you remember and you know and then he puts it all together. He was an amazing guy.
He was incredible.
Yeah,
I'm
miss him.
friends with Peter Rivera from Rare Earth, the drummer
Hmm.
from Rare Earth. I like a lot of Rare Earth tunes for Norman Whitfield's songs as well. I mean, he wrote so much music. Guy was a genius, definitely a
Yeah, man.
genius.
And when you to be in the studio with him and watch his technique is is
Hmm.
is it's a master class. I mean, it's amazing
Yeah,
to watch behind the scenes what some of these guys do and get some of that in your repertoire.
right. Your music is positive, which I like. You know, must be nice. Great lyrics. It's a great message for couples in love.
Yeah,
It takes
it's
two. It takes two to tango. You know,
yeah, you know,
you can
you
have
and it,
patience with each other.
exactly, exactly.
That doesn't happen too much anymore with young couples. One of them gets mad and it's all
You,
over.
it's a wrap, huh?
It's Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. No, nobody's trying to stick it out, and that's
No,
that talking that in the beginning of it, like you can't be the one when it gets tough. You can't be the one that gets going.
exactly.
You
I'm
got
glad
to
you
stick
said
it out.
that.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I'm going on 38 years with my wife. So
man,
there's
that's
ups and
fantastic.
downs, but so what? If you love somebody, you can stick it out. You know,
Yeah,
why
There-
start all over again?
yeah, yeah. There's good and there's bad. There's good and there's bad
Exactly.
days.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Again was another cool track. It reminded me a little bit of Luther Ingram for some reason. I'm a big fan of Luther because when I was a kid, I sold him a pair of binoculars. My dad's store in DC. He was such a
Yeah,
nice guy too, and I love
yeah.
his music.
He was a really humble guy, huh?
Yeah, that's another thing. All these guys they pass away so early. You
Well,
know, a lot of the great R&B guys.
yeah. It seems like that, but in actuality, you know, time goes, and we don't
Yeah,
realize the age of some of the guys.
that's true.
So you just remember them. Just like with the passing of Prince. And
Yeah,
he was young, but for 18, 19-year-old guy, it's like, man, that guy was over the hill. They look at the younger generation looks at the older generation as being old and obsolete, sort of.
well, Binky, I'm 62, man, and I got all my hair. As a matter of fact, I can grow it out to here if I want. So I'm
Grow
happy
it down
about
your
that.
back, huh?
Yeah,
That's a
like the
good
guy,
thing.
like Mark, who I met at the pool.
Uh,
I'm gonna
yeah,
tell him we
man.
were talking about him. He's a pretty cool guy. He was a very laid back guy, real nice guy.
Yeah. Where's he from?
Tampa, born and raised in Tampa.
Okay, my mom's in Tampa.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well,
Hmm.
next time you come visit her, give me a call, man.
Oh yeah,
Go
yeah,
out
for
for a
sure.
beer or something, you know. Well, I gave it 5 stars. I love the album. It's a great album. The Valentinos, that was your dad's group, right?
Yeah, that was the Womack brothers, and
Right,
then when Sam Cooke signed them to go and do circular music, they became the Valentinos, the Lovers.
right. And they had a big hit called "I Can Understand It." And I think New Birth covered that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure yeah, yeah. Actually, they did. I Can Understand It, and then a lot of people covered that after that. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
maybe 10 groups. Uncle Bob did a version of his with his band because he was in the Valentinos uh,
Mm-hmm.
as well, but then he took off. He was playing uh, guitar sessions for like Wilson Pickett and everybody.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys.
Right. What do you need today to really get a good break? I mean, the music industry is so difficult nowadays. You know, you got all these avenues with YouTube and Spotify and Reverb Nation. There's a lot of places you can put your music out there, but don't you need somebody to kind of give you that push?
Yeah, man, it's just like I mean, you have all these avenues, but the avenues are flooded. You know what I mean? There's no screening process.
Yeah.
So everything is out there, and it's all just in this one bin. It's like that bin at the store that has like everything in it, and it says like 50% off.
Yeah.
It's
That's
one of
funny.
those things. So it's just like all this stuff is there, and it's overwhelming because, you know, once you put it up there, it's up there. So there's no like uh, cleaning. They don't go across the internet and take stuff that's been there for 2 years with one play down or anything like that. Everything is just there. So there's really no real formula. You know what I mean? It's like the majors are always going to be the majors. They're always
Mhm.
trying to block the little guy,
Yeah.
or smaller guy, and take all the business. And, they have the playlist and stuff, but those are like, also ran by the major labels,
Hmm.
So you just kind of just have to do what you do in this era and not get discouraged by um, either the lack of success or the amount of success or whatever. You have to really love to do what you do,
Right, right.
and that's the only way you can persevere.
Well, what about? I always hear the legends always tell me that you got to get out there and you got to play as much as you can. If it's a small club or whatever it is, you got to get your face out there so people can see the band and see the music. Is that good? Does that go true today or?
Yeah, that's always a thing. I mean, what I notice is if you play a show, people are going to come up that never seen you, never heard of you before, and be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Man, you're fantastic. You know, I'm going to follow you from this point." And the more shows you play, that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
But COVID,
Yeah,
there's
killed
no, you know
everything.
what I mean. So now
Yeah.
you have like, if that was your avenue to like, push, and then you can't even do that. You know, at least not yet.
The
So
music industry took a big hit with that, man.
yeah,
It's
man,
terrible.
there are a lot of guys that that went under, as well as
Yeah.
businesses, and so the music business took a big hit because some guys were surviving on the tour money,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, or the show money.
Right.
You could go play a show and fly back home and
Right.
play spot dates, but when they take that away from you, then what do you do for 2.5 years
Right.
of no shows? So
What's your plan? Are you going to start touring or what? I haven't seen a big tour from you yet. I mean,
no, there hasn't been a big tour for me yet because
uh-huh.
I mean, I'm pretty new to this. I mean, I had this is my fourth album,
Right.
and say 3 of those years, uh, or 2.5 of those years, basically 3 years, my other three albums were swallowed by COVID.
Yeah.
So there, I do some shows, in some certain areas
Right.
over that time, but not like a big, city to city tour. But I'd have to, get invited onto some type of show,
Mm-hmm.
So like if, someone huge goes out and they, would like for me to open up, that would be,
That'd be awesome.
wonderful for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Mick was to call and say, "Hey, we want you to open up."
Unfortunately, Earth, Wind, and Fire picked Carlos Santana for their tour. It's Carlos and Earth, Wind, and Fire together. So
And then all of these tours that are about to start, these are
yeah,
just these are test tours. You know what I mean?
yeah,
People don't know if it's going to go, the whole length of the tour, or if it's just going to be 2 or 3, 4 dates, and then some type of restriction shut it down because
right,
something happened. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
and no one wants to be the first one to go out, especially the promoters. You know.
You know what surprises me is you would think, with your connections in the music industry, you'd be way up here and you'd have all the backing in the world. That's not true. All the big guys and their kids, they're not getting anywhere. Like John Lennon's son, George
Mhm.
Harrison's son, Julian Lennon made a splash maybe back in the 80s, but his last album, it didn't get to push, and he has Steven Tyler on the album. I mean, it's not true. And I'm shocked.
Yeah, it is. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, right. You would think like because there's a fan base there,
yeah, exactly.
that people that would love the Beatles would be, you know, into Julian or
Even
but
George. Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of you know, I don't know what to say about that one because it's like I the fans are there, you know, but generationally, a lot of those guys, like we were saying, have passed away. So
mm-hmm.
maybe some of those real fans, those real diehard fans,
Right,
have passed away, or things like that, and the younger generation or the new people coming up aren't at that level where they're that type of that type of music lover. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
To say, well, I mean, because I meet people that 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 love my uncles and them, and they love my stuff, and but then there are people that you would think in like certain areas. I don't know if they're familiar with it, or I mean, it's kind of hard to call. So you just
Yeah.
have to keep, you have to do what you do, and eventually, I think what happens with my stuff is people hear this record, and then they're like, "Wow, I never heard of this guy
Mm-hmm.
before," and then they go back and they research the other records, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Wow, now
Right.
then they see like I become one of their favorites in their playlist, or you know, from that point, once they really discover, what's there.
I wish
And
those
then
old days would come back. That
and then
you look.
sometimes it's like you said, like I read that one review that said uh, uh, Vitamin B was the best record there, and
Yeah.
there was barely anything else there, and I was barely,
Exactly.
yeah.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, I was like, this record, the whole entire album is fantastic.
Guy knows nothing about R&B music, man. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. You
So
know.
if people read that, sometimes people just go on what they heard. Well, I heard it
Exactly.
wasn't that good.
Yeah. Critics can be real jerk offs,
Yeah.
especially the Rolling. I never liked Rolling Stones reviews. They would make or break you. They
Yeah.
were harsh on a lot of good artists,
Hmm.
which it's a shame. I'd love to see R&B come back, man. I love that era. It was, I was on the air back in the late 70s.
Hmm.
I played the first rap song, the first commercial rap song, the Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, man. That was the first commercial rap song that really made it big,
Right, across the world.
across the world. Yeah.
And it carried those guys their whole career. I mean, they were still, because they were the pioneers of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
think,
Run DMC came in.
yeah, and then that
Yeah.
just really knocked the door down.
That was the badass side,
Yeah.
What you think rap can last? I mean, it's been around forever now. What we need a new wave of some kind of, a little change in music, I think.
Well, rap, it's a different type of rap now. It's
Right,
not as prolific, and these guys aren't really poets, and it's just like
right.
what's happening on a street level,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really big right now. And
Yeah,
it's just like, you know, that's just one of those things.
yeah,
That's just one of those things. It's like either you like it, or and most people. I mean, that's for uh, maybe under 30, and the topics. I mean, I can
yeah.
listen to it, and I get into the music and the tracking. I mean, I see how it's put together, but it's just, I don't know. Some music, that rap era now is a little dangerous. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Everyone has guns in the video, and
Mm.
you have 10 of your best friends, and they have machine guns, and it's just not really
Yeah, I
and these
know.
guys are, and they're actually killing each other every day. You read, like, this rapper who, he's in the top 10 was shot or killed or chased down, or it's just terrible.
So young too, the 20s and 30s, and
Yeah, and
it's
these guys are like 15 and 16. I mean,
yeah.
Pop Smoke
Why?
was one of the top cats, was murdered by some 15-year-olds,
Jeez,
like rob his jewelry,
that's
home
crazy.
invasion. It's
I was
terrible.
sad to see DMX go. I did like DMX.
Yeah, he was a legend. He was a
Yeah,
legend. So his music will always be around.
right.
You can listen to that today and still appreciate it. That's the type of
Exactly.
records that you know
It's like
that should be
Tupac
made.
too. Tupac's another guy that his music will live on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did some records with Tupac, and it was the anniversary of his death this month, I think it was, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe he's been gone 25 years.
Some people say he's living in Cuba and he's alive. That's what his cousin told me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But so what's going to change in the music industry? No, do you have? Are you bringing in young artists? What are you doing now with your your
Yeah, man,
company?
that's always been my thing. You
Right,
know, I've always, tried to develop uh, undeveloped talent. It's easy to, you know, to produce Mariah Carey or, you know, Britney Spears or somebody who's already established. I mean, you don't even have
right,
to have any type of just song that just a record that they want to sing on, and it's like,
right,
okay, you're going to get another plaque for this, and you're going to get a plaque for this. But to take someone who is unknown to the world, you know what I mean, or that's never made a record before, and establish them, it takes more to do that than to
right.
just jump from well-known artist to well-known artist and be screaming you're the greatest. So I have Lisa Love that sang on the Let's Do It Again remake that I did.
Right, right.
I'm finishing up an album on her,
Okay.
and then
Lisa
I
Love.
have, yeah, Lisa Love album comes out next month, and
Okay.
the P Union, that
P
the
Union.
funkadelic group I was telling you about,
Yeah.
that album comes out next month.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
then so there's a few acts that I'm working on that are unknown, and
Right.
you know
Are you working with any of those rap guys that talk about machine guns and things like
no,
that?
man, I've had some opportunities, but
Yeah.
I really stay away from those because it all that other stuff comes with it. You know what I
I
mean?
know. I know.
And
The
guys come,
lifestyle.
yeah, the
Yeah.
lifestyle. Guys come to your studio and everybody has a gun, and then
Oh
let me
God.
put my gun on the table, and it's just like,
They
okay,
search you, you know.
you locking the gate to make sure nobody followed them there. I mean, it's
Oh
terrible.
God. Yeah.
So that I had a lot of offers, but no, I kind of just say, I'm not gonna do that. I thought about doing some stuff under a alias, but
Right.
still, it's the same thing. You can't really get away
Yeah.
from that. You know.
Your uncle, man, he was good friends with Sly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were great buddies.
I love Sly, man. I just wish he'd just come out of it, and get back at. He was so brilliant, His
Yeah.
music is, it's like the R&B of the Beatles.
You
To
know
me,
what?
I
Yeah.
compare him as the R&B of the Beatles. You
Believe it
know?
or not, he still is brilliant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Sly still writes and plays and performs, but um, because of his past, no one really wants to touch that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But he's still a to this day extremely talented guy.
Have you seen Sly over that past couple of years or anything, or
I haven't seen Sly in maybe about 4 years.
really?
Yeah, but when I last time I saw him, we were over at he had a condo, and has a setup with
Yeah.
laptop and
Oh, good, good, good.
piano, and yeah, he still just jams.
Didn't he win some money? There was a lawsuit going on, and
I
I
think
think,
I think that um, the judge awarded him
right,
quite a bit of money, but
good,
I don't know if he, you know what I mean. I don't know if it's actually been paid or anything like that, but there was where he was awarded, some of his
yeah,
money, and I mean, that's crazy, right?
yeah,
But that's just the way things happen, and just to think, I mean, the award that he had gotten was like 5 million or something like that, and that
yeah,
was just a small portion of
yeah,
what he
exactly.
had generated over, all those
All the
years. And
hits, all
yeah,
those hits, man. Yeah, they say I talked to some people that were at Woodstock. They said it was him. He was the number one act. He got everybody on their feet.
yeah.
I think, yeah,
He was the originator of all those, super bands that came
yep,
behind him, like, I mean, Prince, you know, kind of, you know, took what he started and, and kept it going with his whole band, the Revolution and everything.
the two powerhouse R&B bands I really admire: Sly and the Family Stone and War. War's another band that had a lot of hits.
Yeah. War was, and they're same thing. They're like a huge band,
Yep. Yep.
But during that time, there were so many great bands, man. There
Yeah.
were, like you said, Parliament Funkadelic was a
Yep.
great band. Slave, uh, Lakeside Cameo's
Yeah.
ridiculous
Cameo.
concert. Gap
Yeah.
Band. So you had all these bands, and I don't think they're. I can't name one in this era that's
No.
you know what I mean? There's like you'd have to like really sit back and think,
Yeah.
like
There's some good talent out there, but they're not recognized, And I'm sure there's a real good band. There's some group out there that's probably just as good as the Beatles, but
yeah,
nobody's going to know about them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know who I met a long time ago. It was a weird show. My sister-in-law's cousin was in a band called Sabata, and they
Mhm.
backed up Gil Scott Heron. And it was in a very small Lizard Auditorium in George Washington University. And there was like 10 people there.
It was a
Unbelievable.
fantastic show, huh?
Oh my God. This was the first time Gil Scott Heron was out and about,
Mhm.
doing shows and things. But I got to hang out with them and everything. And now they're like legends. Another very poetic guy, wrote a lot of great music.
Yeah, but that was the time where they were, you know, like the stuff Marvin Gaye was putting out.
Yeah,
I mean, it was revolutionary, and it was
right,
at the same time, uplifting, trying to pull people together,
right.
trying to. That was that time.
Yeah. What's the word? Johannesburg. That was a
Yeah.
good song. Really good song.
Mhm.
Binky, I've asked you this before, and I get some interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to collaborate, play with, or from somebody from the past or present, who would that be? And you can't say Womax, any Womax.
Well, I played with all those. Well, I played with all those Womack people.
Right.
So let me see. I mean, I would like to do something, man. I mean, I would have loved to vibe with. I always say like Rod Stewart.
Hmm.
He's a great soul singer. I would like to, maybe Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Some of those cats that were, really prolific and just, great songwriters. You know.
Is there a reggae record in you, or what do you think?
No, no. I mean, the closest I've got to a reggae record was Mr. Sun
Uh-huh.
on the Next to Kin album. You listen to that, it has kind of a
Yeah.
reggae feel, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not that. It's kind of like a red wine. It's not the real deep rooted reggae, so but it
So,
just has a Caribbean vibe on it.
Curtis, what's next for you? I mean, you got this album, which is incredible. I love it. One of your best, one of your best albums. I'm looking forward to maybe swinging back a little bit to some more guitar, of course, because you're so good at it.
Yeah,
But what's next?
man. I'm just gonna, I, I, I think I'm just gonna just keep making music and putting the records out and not try to get caught up into trying to shape it where I think it's a
Right.
commercial hit. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
I want people that whenever they do stumble onto this, that it's great. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You can't hear, oh, this record was done in the 80s because there's a certain thing where you try to go trendy and try to,
Right.
you
Right.
know, satisfy the record label. Since I don't have to do that, I'll just, just continue to just, like you said, maybe the next record definitely will, put something guitar worthy on
Hmm.
there,
Hmm.
because I, I purposely held back, you know what I mean, on a lot
I
of
could
these
tell. I could tell you
records.
held back.
So, so
and
I'm just gonna
you
just keep doing it.
you got to demonstrate your talent, man. That's, I like that picture of you on the beach with the acoustic guitar.
Hmm.
That was a cool. I use that picture because it kind of appeals to everybody. It's kind of a laid back Curtis.
Yeah, if you listen to, I think my favorite guitar song. Did you have the very first record, the Womack style?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We reviewed
And
that the first time I did the interview. I loved it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's one all out song on there that's all just is guitar. I mean, double bass drum
Kind,
pedal. And,
kind of
what song is
Hendrix,
that?
kind of Jimi Hendrix type. Yeah.
And that song is
Yeah.
kind of like a soulful AC/DC record.
Right.
I
Right.
can't think of the name of the song right now, but it's kind of it's the only one on there outside
I
of me and
remember
my
that.
guitar. Yeah,
Yeah.
but check that out.
That impressed me a lot. You know. Well, you're a very eclectic musician. You can play anything, which is great.
Yeah.
You can do it
So,
all.
but you have to like you can't. Although you can do it all, you
Right.
have to like you know what I mean. You have to kind of put it in a sculpt it down where it can fit nicely into a certain package. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until you get to the level of that we're talking about, like you're the grand scheme of things, and everyone is, they know what to expect. They don't, because you're gonna have the critics that are always
Right.
gonna, you know, give their twist on things.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get this record as wrong as some of the reviews that I read, you know, then
Do you think you found the package, or do you think you're still working on it?
yeah. Because imagine if you come to see a show,
Right.
you know, then it's gonna be you're gonna get all of that. You're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
the big band. You're gonna get the guitar solos. We're gonna get some improv stuff.
Right. Right.
We may play everyday people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like
Yeah.
you're gonna get so you're when you're in the live setting, it's different than the record. You know what I mean? Because you want the record to be tame and you want it to
Mm-hmm.
be a certain way.
I hear you knocking's going to be great live.
Yeah. So
It's
it's
gonna be
just
really
like,
good
can you
live.
imagine going from I hear you knocking to like her or something like that was
Right.
on the
Right.
next of kin record. It's just like the show, is going to be it's going to pull people back in. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of reflects on what you were saying about when people see you live and going out
Right.
there and seeing what you actually do on stage. Because listening to a Prince record and going to a Prince show
Totally different.
is totally different. But you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I've seen him play Jungle Boogie. It was like just destroy it.
Had some of the guys from Cool and the Gang on the show. I've had the Commodores on. It's great to talk to those guys.
Yeah,
Like you said, everyone's getting old though.
right. I mean, when you think about it, and you think like Lionel Richie, those guys like 80,
Yeah.
80 years old. So
Gosh. We have time it stands still because we still listen to the music and we still think of them when the
mhm.
music's first released. And you're right. You're 100% right. And it's there's a big gap there. Now they're old. And we don't
Yeah,
realize it.
and you don't realize how old they are. Like
Yeah.
I see George Clinton, and
Oh man.
it's just like,
Yeah.
man, George was around back in the doo-wop days,
Yeah. That's right. That's
and it's
right.
like now he's one of the last, last guys left, and he still looks pretty good, still
Yeah.
healthy. But when you think about it, I mean, George, how old are you? 87,
Jeez.
86. That's
Yeah.
that's an accomplishment right there, man.
Yeah. He's the Frank Zappa of soul music.
Yeah.
He's got that. You know. He's the first time when I saw him in concert, he came out in a diaper. And of course, the spaceship came down, and
Oh man,
what a
those
great
days.
show.
Yeah, that was fantastic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Binky, anything else you need to promote? We got the Womack 2021, Mr. Womack, and we got the Last Valentino, both available on Amazon.com right now. Anything else you need to promote?
No, man. People follow me on Binky Womack, Facebook, Instagram.
Right.
There's BinkyWomack.com with
Right.
all kind of, updates. And, there's lots of videos out there.
Lots of videos.
Lots of videos. We're going to be shooting some new videos for the Mr. Womack 2021 record.
Right.
And it's different shooting videos now because, there's only like 2 people allowed on a set.
Right.
So, you have to really be a creative. There's not a lot of cast. So, but we want to deliver some visuals still for this record. And hopefully, that you guys will catch us live.
That'd be
And
great.
be able to witness what a real show is like.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love you guys. You're real musicians. Your music is so good, and I wish you all the best luck in the world. I hope you get really big.
Hey, man.
If I can do my part, if I get my part to push, whatever I can, promote you guys, I do it. You know that, and just keep sending me new music, and we'll go ahead and promote the hell out of it.
Yeah, for sure, man. When I'm gonna send you I'm gonna send you a link where you can listen to the P Union record and the Lisa Love
definitely.
record.
I want to promote those guys too.
Yeah, you're gonna love that stuff. Especially you're gonna love the P Union because there's nobody doing it like we're doing it. Nobody's doing it like we're doing it.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna send you that. Man, thanks for having me on your show.
Anytime,
really
man. You've got anytime you want to come on. When you start touring, we'll get you back on again so we can announce all the dates you got going. And if you ever want to do a tribute to the Womacks, I'm up for it. I've done a few tributes on this show. So,
okay, that'll be fantastic, man.
Yeah. With Zoom, we can do anything now. We'll just have, 10, 12 different screens, and everybody talking.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah. All right, man.
All right, man. Love your show. Thank you.
Love you too.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Guys. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com, specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on BBS Radio, Station 1.